Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViewsNope. And today we are doing hacking class number 9. This is a practicality class, so that means we are going to be actually doing something in it. But we're not going to be creating a virus. We're actually going to be looking for malware on a Windows 8 computer, specifically mine. But as far as things goes, this video does not apply to OS X, which is Macintosh's operating system, and Linux. It's very, very important to note that what we're going to be talking about today is purely Windows. Very important. The reason why I'm not going to get into those other two is this is going to be a very long video because this is a very tedious process. Now keep in mind, you can run a scan on your computer, say Avast, Northern, whatever, but if the signature is not recognized, or if it's one of those type of malwares where it's encrypted itself in certain ways or hidden itself in certain ways, or if it's a one of those malwares where it changes its actual own name each and every time, plus it changes all the files around it, which some of them do, and I'll get into that in a theoretical video in the future. The chances are you're not going to find it with a scan, so you actually got to go in there and find it. Now, real quick, the software that we're going to be using comes from employees of Microsoft, so that's very important to note. Is we're going to pretty much use the Microsoft type of software. I will leave a link below where you can get it, so check that out in the description. But again, this is Windows only. Now, before we move any further, I'm going to play some personal advertisement, and that will just show you how to better support my channel if you feel like it should be better, and that way you can help me make it grow and also become a lot better than I can do just on my own. So I'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around during this transition. Now, if you want to help me out at all, either by financial or other means, then feel free to click the Patreon button to go to my Patreon campaign, and that way you can donate there and check out what I plan to do with money. Or you can click the PayPal button and you can donate there. You can either donate one time there or do a monthly reoccurrence. And lastly, if you don't want to help out with money, either because you just don't have it or whatever it is, then feel free to share this video and share my other videos. And please check out the top button to go to my main channel. But anyways, hope that you like this video, and let's bring it back to the actual video. So, welcome back. So one thing I forgot to mention is we're going to get into how to look at what is starting up on your computer when your computer's first starting up. I kind of like halfway did it in other videos, but we're really going to get deep into it. I did it halfway in other videos because it's not necessary to know every little tiny thing, while on this one it is necessary to know every little piece of dirt that comes up. So it's a very tedious process. But as far as things goes, one of the biggest things that you need to know is your computer experiencing abnormalities. So what you do is you have charts. So this in the background, what you're seeing is live. This is all live raw data. So we can see the CPU power's not that bad. It's actually pretty low. RAM swaps pretty stable, as we see over here. The hard drive memory, as we see on the bottom left, it's stable. The temperatures, they're pretty good. So that's not that bad. So it's a pretty stable thing. It's not that bad right now. But one of the biggest things that you need to look for is the internet. So over to the top right, I got, and I'll show you how to figure it out on your own system if you don't have this. And I do have a video on how you can get this on your computer for free. The top right, it shows the internet usage, and that's a huge thing that you got to keep in mind. And that's why I have this up here, so I can see any abnormalities, because this is my main thing. This is my moneymaker. So what happens 90% of the time with these malwares is the malware is either looking for something from the internet, a command, or it is sending something. Only time it's not really doing anything on the internet is certain logic bombs that doesn't require internet stuff. So real quick, what a logic bomb is someone with, usually it's someone with a grudge when they leave a company or whatever. It's basically whenever X event happens, do Y thing. X event could be a date, it could be opening a file, it could be a command, it could be many, many, many things. And Y could be many other things. So delete the entire system, blow up a transformer. It could be many, many things. So there's certain cases that you're not going to see any internet activity, but most of the time you're going to, because it's not profitable for hackers to basically wipe your data. It's not profitable for them to do nothing. 9 times out of 10, what they tend to do is they try to find a way to make money, because nowadays it's really hard to make money. So one of the ways they do it is they make a registry dealing with mail services. What happens is they rent out space for spammers, and they get money from there. The spammers don't ask questions. The spammers do their job, and what happens is, since it's a hidden file, it's within your thing, it's not, it probably doesn't have a graphical interface. What happens is it does its entire job without you knowing. So, other than the internet usage. So that's a very important thing. And you might see an abnormality as far as slow internet, but also keep in mind that also might be your internet company being your internet company. So that's a huge thing you gotta keep in mind. Now let's say that you don't have this. You don't have the ability to get this. You don't want this. You don't want this chart. How do you figure this stuff out? Again, still chart. Down here on the bottom, the toolbar, right click and go to Task Manager. Yours might look a little bit different than mine. I got Windows 8. Go to Performance, go to Open Resource Monitor. You don't need Task Manager up anymore, and this basically shows you what's what. Unfortunately, it's not like this where you see everything at once. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good way. Now let's say that you found an abnormality and you're just not sure if it's something that you did, because it could easily be that something that you're just not familiar with. Maybe your computer's really old, and what you're doing has new software and requires more. So what's what? So what you need to do is go to MS config, and by the way, that search thing, I'll actually get into that in a second, and press enter, and then go and look at this, select what you want. So if you want to do select services, to do that, go to diagnose, I advise that, go to boots, select whatever options you want, and services if you want to do that. That's up to you. And startup, this is crap. It doesn't really show you anything affected. Let's open that up. This doesn't show you everything that's running. It shows you a lot, but not everything. Actually does show me a bit that's running. It also shows the time, but it doesn't show you everything. To get that, we need to download a piece of software. I'll have a link below to this software. Just on the zip folder, go to auto runs, open that up, run, and give it a bit. Let me I think I got some things filtered out. Let me fix it whenever it's done. It takes a while for it to load up everything because this is everything in a sense. So let's rescan, and this is everything that's registered. Very important, it's everything that's registered. So what we see here is everything. We need to narrow it down. Go to options, reverse what I just did, hide, and verify code signatures. This is very important because here's the thing. Look at this. Sorry about that. The signatures where it says the publisher is Brothers. This is my printer, so I know it's legit. I actually put it on here, so I know it's legit. But we need to verify it. So go to options, hide Microsoft entries, verify signatures, rescan. And what we have is in the pink, it is the ones that can't verify or the ones without signatures. So for example, right here, we don't have a signatures. This is that bat file. I think I made a video on how to make this particular file. It's an automation file to do a bunch of things to make it easier for my computer to load up. And it doesn't have a signature because I didn't give it one. But as far as this goes, it can't verify it. So yeah. So that's a huge dead giveaway that there might be malware there. So as far as the yellow, this is incomplete images. You'll see this for if you're VPNing into a workplace. You'll see that. That's also something to keep in mind right there. So as far as this goes, let's go into the log on, and you see right here, this is everything that actually starts up. Let's go back to the task manager right here. Start up. A lot more. It's a lot more than right here. This is a nitty-gritty stuff. We obviously have things like origin and some other stuff, but for the most part, it's a lot more. And I'll allow you to take a quick look at that and see what's not on the other list. Now keep in mind that things are named differently on some of these things, but there's a little bit more. Now let's say I'm not really sure about something like this. This is a common thing that hackers use to hide their malware. Not saying to delete it, because this is actually a legitimate file. So let me explain what happens. Let's click it real quick just to highlight it. And as you see here, it says name, the actual name, the company that made it, the location that's in, the date, and yada yada yada. Well, here's the thing: is what happens a lot. And I'm not telling you to delete it if you run into this situation, but you need to investigate it and get it down to figure out what it is. What happens a lot of the time when hackers want to put malware on a computer, they delete non-essentials on a computer, and they either delete it, mask it, or whatever it may be, but they tend to put files of the similar nature, similar names and everything in different locations. So you might see something like this in the Windows folder or something like that. Maybe a System32 folder. So it's pretty good to know what that is and everything else, and if it's legitimate. And what you do is you can simply just right click it and search online, and there you go. Now as far as things goes, what if you're still not sure? Let's pick something like this. So I'm not sure where it is. I don't trust this. So let's jump to the image, and it shows me where it is, and the image itself has it highlighted and all the other nice stuff. But I don't really know about directory, so let's jump to the entry. You might have to do this twice. Give it a second or two. It does that again. You might have to do it twice. And I don't know why it does that and why you gotta have it twice, but I've seen it where Microsoft employees actually do the exact same thing, so it is the same thing for them too. But anyways, this is where it is, and it tells it to start up and everything. So it's pretty important. And as we see, we can also see some of the similar things over here. Now, one thing that I'll tell you right now is don't mess around with this if you don't know what you're doing. You can really mess up your computer very quickly. So that's a huge thing to keep in mind, is don't mess around with that. In fact, I should mention this right now. This is an educational video, and if you do something at all on your computer using this device or not, then you need to keep in mind that that's purely on your head. Since I physically didn't touch your computer, it's now on my head, and I have no control over your outcome. So that's a huge, huge, huge thing to keep in mind. So this is not a no voice thing. This is not anything that someone's just going to jump into. This is a very advanced thing that I'm talking about right now. So you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. But let's say that you want to troubleshoot some of this stuff a little bit more. Let's open this up in Process Explorer. I might have to, I guess it wasn't open. But in case that doesn't open, what you can do is go to here and look for this. Just double click that, run, and it's already running. And what happens here is this shows you what's running, what's what on your computer right now, actually. And what I suggest you do is set the update interval as quickly as possible. There you go. It is update speed, and that way you got stuff. Now, whenever something opens up, it will turn green, but you got to keep in mind what's what. Also, what I advise is to go and look at the actual colors and figure out the font type. So as far, or not font type, but the colors, because each color actually means something. And if you do modify this, it will also change. So real quick, just pulling up the colors, you can see the different colors here. We'll show you that's packed images, so in case you can't see that. But yeah, that's pretty much all they made, so keep that in mind. And while you're looking at this, but also keep in mind that you can actually use this as a task manager to figure out what's wrong on our computer and to close everything. This is basically, if you really want to get down to it, if you go down to Task Manager, I saw that open up. If you go to the details, it says basically that, what you're looking at. So it's pretty close to that. Now, if you're not really sure about something, what you can do is easily double click it, and I suggest looking at strings first, and this will actually tell you a bit about it. Let me go through some of these to find something that's suspicious. Alright, I know what this is, but some example, if this was a suspicious URL, that would help tracking it down. And this is the this one right here. And just search for suspicious URLs and suspicious things. You're really mostly looking for URLs. Most of the stuff you're probably not going to know what it means, and there's no point in really telling you what a lot of this means, because it means different depending on what program you got. So for example, if I went to HP remote, all that means a little bit different. But But what I can do is take a look at that by simply doing a Google search. Simple as that. It's really not that hard to figure out what it is. So now I know it's SSL stuff. Same thing with some of this other stuff. I can figure out what it is. It's pretty easy. Now, in order for us to trace some of this stuff down a little bit more, what we can use is Process System Monitor, the PROMON run. And you might get a thing saying decept it, and go ahead for that. And let's bring that over. Oh, and before I forget, one thing I want to mention is you can use this tool, and it will actually tell you what's what. So this right here, try to bring it over to my other screen, and you can see the Firefox, some on the other screen, Camtasia, wherever it went, and so on. So it's pretty cool as far as figuring out what going on your computer. And what we need to do here is actually you need to verify image signatures by selecting that, and this will do the same thing to tell you if it's verified or not. And this is also a way to figure out if there's a malware on your computer. So something like this, it says no signature. So what we could do is troubleshoot that we found on here. And let's say that we found that this was a malware. What we can do, and unfortunately fortunately I don't have any. Unfortunately I don't have any to show you malware wise, at least that I can directly see. And as far as things goes, I probably have something on here. And as far as things goes, what will happen is you'll try to kill it, and what happens 9 times out of 10 is the hacker, by just killing the program, it doesn't actually stop the program. What they tend to do is have 2 programs or more up, and what happens is you kill one program, the other ones do a shuffle check. 90% of the time it's 2 programs. So if you got one program that dies, the other one actually brings it back up. So it does a self check and goes back and forth. So it sees its comrade died, it revives it. So that's a huge thing. And what you do is you just suspend it and then kill them, and that will stop whatever is going on right then and there. But you still got to figure out, one, how did it get on your computer, and 2, how is it activating? Because like I said, it has to be executed. So that's also a huge thing. So that's where this comes in play, is knowing the execution. So by going in here, you can figure out how is it starting up. If it's starting up through the registry and some other stuff. But let's say you still can't get rid of it for whatever the reason may be. The program keeps the malware keeps rebuilding itself. You got some type of residual on there, and you just can't figure it out. Well, that's where the process monitor kicks in. So what we need to do is first off, when you delete it, you need to hit F5 to make sure it really did stick. Sometimes it doesn't. A lot of people don't recognize that, but that's a good way to make sure it did. But as far as process monitor, let's actually make this full. This shows all file system registry activity. This is kind of like the editor, so it's a little bit better. So with this, what we can see is the type, the PID. I actually get into the PID in a past video, but anyways, we can get into the path, success, and so on. So let's click on one of these, and as we see here, we can see the same thing as the dates, the thread, and so on. You can read. So the stack, this is the very important part, because we can figure out if a malware affected it. Because as far as a true Windows, if it's a Windows valid, sorry about that, a legitimate Windows executable file, you'll see valid DLL in every line in the trace. So if you see a unknown, that's a sign of malware, or pretty good chance of malware. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to show a real example of that. Now, one of the cool things with this is this actually shows you short-lived processes. So what some malware does is it opens up and closes. It basically comes alive and kills itself within seconds or less. So let's open up Process Monitor, and what you see here is the short-lived, the lifespan of the processes, and everything in gray is things that actually closed down since we started monitoring. So when you first open this up, this thing right here, this little icon, that's where it starts monitoring. And so yeah, that basically shows you what's going on, and you can figure out if it's a short-lived process. You can figure out, is it a virus, is it not. So something like this, like AVAS, I know that's not a virus, that's my anti-stuff. So I can look around, see if I can find something else. And let's try to make a short-lived process. Go in CMD. Very short-lived. That will probably be blocked out. There you go. Took me a little while to find it. And there we go, the IP config, and we can even go to the event, and we can look at that. So what do you do when something goes haywire, or when that doesn't work? Well, for the most part, I had something go haywire a second ago while I was off camera for a second, and trying to figure it out. I found out it was nothing big, but let me show you the process so I can go through it a little bit quicker if I can freaking find it. I lost it. So anyways, what ended up happening is Prey, which is the anti-theft system on my computer, it went haywire for a second. I think it did a self-check on it. It basically pinged out to say, hey, and do you need anything from me, or whatever it may be. And in fact, that's a form of malware, believe it or not. That Prey, the anti-theft system, that is a form of malware. I got into that in a previous video, and I'll get a little bit more into future videos. But as far as things goes, what ended up happening is it went haywire. And as I saw, I had that thing up, it told me what it was. Everything looked good. I went in here to figure out to open up the process tree, since this catches things that even the actual process monitor doesn't catch. And what ended up happening is I just taking a look at it. A second or two. Sorry about that, I lost it. There it is. So let's open that up. Shrink that a little bit. So everything looks good here. The processes part, as we can see here, is it's the Prey. It's the how I have it set up is it's not in the programs folder. That way, a thief who's actually dumb is going to look in the program folder and pretty much nowhere else. They're not going to really know how a computer works. Chances are they'll format a computer if they have any intelligence about them, but you know, they wouldn't be a thief if that was the case. So what I did is I hid it in a subfolder, and so it's in a correct position. This, just looking up this on the internet, it's fine, and it's all right. And going through here, it's saying that everything's good to go. Now, because I wasn't sure what was going on, just trying to take a look at it. See, you have a ping command. So let's go to here real quick. And as you see here, it's telling you a little bit about the ping command to start, and so it's less than a second, as you may guess. Nothing too much there. But as you see here, it's just pinging Google. So nothing too much. In fact, let me show you what happens. Let's copy that real quick. CMD, paste, and that's what happens. So it just pings it in one time, and it says, "Oh, it's connected to the internet. We're good to go." And that way, it says that you know, we're good. Because, and I'm thinking that they have it pinging. And in fact, I just found this out during making this video. I think the reason why they ping it out to the Google is because Google is probably not going to get shut down for quite a long time. So that's a safe bet. So you ping it out something like that, and we're good to go. Let's find something else. Maybe it has another ping command. I don't know about this one. All right, and I'm not going to get into that. So, anyways, we can look in that, and that's how you actually diagnose it. So diagnosing it, I figured out what it was doing is pinging out. It was trying to figure out where the system is, see if it's connected to the internet. And I'm assuming that it was actually trying to figure out if there's any new commands from the Prey website. So it knows, is the system's marked as missing or is it not? Because if it's marked as missing, then, you know, it needs to actually start recording and acting as spyware in itself. If it's not, then it's good to go, and we're good. And how I have this stuff set up with the anti-theft system is after X amount of actions. In fact, this is probably why it went haywire. After X amount of actions, it sends a signal out to say, hey, this is what's going on in the spyware. And since X amount of actions happened, even though it was not marked as missing, it said, hey, do you got any commands for me? Any new commands? And since the thing said no, there you go. That's at least to my guess what happened. I have to actually talk to Prey about that a little bit more to make sure. But for the most part, that's my guess. It looks all harmless as far as this goes, just going in here. But that's how you figure out real quick things, and that was a real world example. But let's talk about what happens if you know this stuff didn't work. You're on your last resort. You keep trying to delete something, and so on and so on, and you can't update your system, so you can't update the security files in your system, so you can't scan your computer for the latest security. What do you do? In fact, here's the thing I was talking about. That fork LTD was confusing me. But what do you do? What you do is you suspend. And you're probably going to get that, but for the most part, you suspend the stuff. And what happens is by suspending it, if you have proper access to it, the thing will actually, it'll for the most part stop it. It puts it on pause. It won't allow it. It basically puts it to sleep for right now, and then when you unsuspend it, it wakes it back up and allows it to do whatever. So if you don't recognize it and you can't download security provisions, you can't download the latest updates for your antivirus, you can't download the latest security software for your Windows, you can't do this, you can't do that, you need to suspend everything that's not crucial, download stuff, run the scans, and see what comes up. If you know it's a actual malware, you suspend it anyways, and then you figure out what's rebuilding it. And you have to go line by line, unfortunately. And like I said, it's a very tedious task. I'm not making this to make it comfortable for you. I'm also not making it to make it unbearable. This is the real world. It's a very tedious task, and like I said at the beginning, this is not made for a new user coming in here. A new user, that's why you have antivirus software. But when that fails, you need to know how to do this, or you need to pay out both ends to get someone to do it for you. But unfortunately, if you're like me, you don't have the money to pay, so you need to learn how to do it. Now, this doesn't cover everything. There is some micro stuff out there that will actually get more into it. And there's a couple more things in the files, stuff. And as far as this goes, the one thing I want to mention right now, if you can't open up any of these things, because there is malware that will close down these programs once you try to open it. If you can't open it up, make a notepad within the proper area, proper location, or wherever. Rename it to the name of whatever's shutting down. Open it up. If that's shutting down, then you got malware. That's not a guess. You got malware shutting it down. Getting that fixed is probably one of the harder things to do, but what you do is simply you suspend and then you download the latest system updates, the latest scan stuff. If you got Microsoft Security Essentials, which I advise, you download that, and that will help you out and things. So as far as things goes, if you got any questions, then feel free to leave them in the comment section. But again, this is an educational video, so if you do wreck your computer, then that's completely on your head. But if you do run into any problems, still feel free to ask me, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Now, as far as things goes, if you do, again, have any tips or anything, or if you want to add anything in here, because I did leave a bunch of things out, but I didn't want to overload, because this video is going on way too long as it is, and it's going to take too long to upload. But as far as things goes, if you do have any actual tips other than what I listed, then feel free to actually leave them in the comment section below. But if this has helped you, then please like, please subscribe, and please share. And if it hasn't helped you, then please go ahead and leave a dislike, but tell me why, and that way I can improve future videos. So anyways, hope that you like this, and I hope you have a great day.